Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslima. I'm your host, Zara Pedersen, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects. I think all subjects are pretty much my favorite subject, but this one you will definitely have heard me talk a ton about, which is tawakkul. And one of the things that I keep saying is to not just have tawakkul, but to live in tawakkul. So to actually live by your the theory of tawakkul, by your actual trust and faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's something that if you've been around for some time, you will have heard me say it probably several times at this point. But I don't know if I've ever really sat down and sort of like broken down what that means. I'm sure I have. But I thought, you know what, let's just make like a dedicated episode where we talk about what it actually means to have tawakkul and what it looks like in practice. Because I think that's the thing where, where it's like, well, I trust Allah, but like, how do I live by that trust? How do I show Allah in my practical everyday life that I trust him? And I think that's where some people have a difficult time taking tawakkul from theory and into practice. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And listen, I'd like to think that I am the queen of living in tawakkul. Astaghfirullah, like I'm not like trying to say I'm better or anything than anyone, but I have done it now for some time. And I just, it's such a wonderful way of living your life. And so this is why I preach so much about it. Okay, let me stop talking in circles here and let's just get into the point. First of all, actually, just to let you know, I'm trying a new location where I'm recording today. And I'm sitting out on my friend's balcony, and it is absolutely gorgeous. But she does live in the town center, and I'm sitting on her balcony. So if you can hear traffic and such, let's just call it ambiance, okay? I hope that just by the fact that I have a microphone this close to my mouth and my face, that you'll still be able to hear everything that I have to say, and it doesn't actually compromise the sound quality. Inshallah khair, okay? So let's get into it. Where do we want to start? Okay, tawakkul. Tawakkul. You will have heard this so many times before. I know you know what it means. And I think like the easiest way for us to break down what tawakkul is, it is trust and faith. It's faith and trust like together, like that you believe and you trust in what you believe in, right? And it's in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So but it's deeper than just trust, because I can trust a person, but I will never out trust Allah from that person from Allah. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't trust that person more than I trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So I can trust a person and still realistically know that that person is only just that, a person. And so they, even though I trust them, have certain limitations, right? And ways that they can and cannot show up for me, and so on and so forth, where my trust in Allah surpasses all of those things. So it's an even deeper feeling of trust, even in moments where it's like, I don't see the support, I don't see the provision, I don't see the security, I don't see the promise, I don't see all of those things, but I still trust that it is coming and that it is there. So it's not in, it's not this kind of trust. Tawakkul is not contingent, is that the word? I don't know. Upon a person being there and doing something actively. It's not contingent upon me being able to see it and feel it and hear it in order for me to trust that it is there. With Allah, it is just always there. And I know that because I believe in Allah, because I have faith in Allah. Okay. So it is like a step deeper, is all that I'm trying to say. Okay, that's what I want you to understand, that this kind of trust is so deep that it goes beyond any kind of trust that you can have in anything, even yourself in this dunya. Like I will trust myself. Will I? Wait, let me just question myself here for a minute. Okay, I do. Yeah, yes and no. See again here. Such a beautiful example that I just literally played out for you in real time, where I feel like I can trust myself, but then at the same time, I also know that I am the best at lying to myself, because I will say tomorrow I do this, tomorrow I'll do that, and then my ADHD, my procrastination, my laziness, my this, that, and the other is going to get in the way, and then I still don't do the things that I say I'm going to do. So no, I can't actually trust myself, and like that is kind of a sucky thing. Even though like I feel like I can trust myself, I can't, because I know myself. I know that I'm so full of flaws, and I know that I have, I don't know, random ideas sometimes that sound good, but then like when it comes down to it, I'm like, yeah, actually I don't want to do that. So I trust myself, but not even, I don't even trust myself the way that I trust Allah. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. So the way that I have to tawakkul in Allah is that even when I don't even trust myself to show up for something or to do something or to follow through on something, I know that Allah will. I know that Allah absolutely will. So this means in practice, in my life, the way that I practice tawakkul, practically showing up for that trust is, for instance, doing something that I don't feel ready to, doing something that I don't feel like I have enough information on, doing something like following through on something simply because I feel led towards it. And so in the past, you know as well, I've spoken quite a ton about sort of being intuitively guided by Allah. Allah directs us and redirects us and stuff like that. And sometimes we can't make sense of it. We don't necessarily understand why we feel inclined to do something. And when we're sitting down and trying to make logic of it, it doesn't always make logical sense. But at the same time, we just know in our hearts that that's the way that we want to go. And that can sometimes be like a divine intervention, direction, sort of redirection, whatever it might be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, kind of pushing you in a direction. And sometimes it'll pay off going down that route if you know, go full in. That is how I use my tawakkul in practice, is saying, I feel so guided to do this that I'm just going to jump out into it. Okay. And if it is truly from Allah and Allah wants me to go down that path, and if it's a part of my rizq and my qadr in this dunya, in to serve me as Allah's servant in this dunya in the best possible outcome, then I trust that Allah will provide the answers when and if I need them. So even if I don't have the full plan laid out, I don't have full clarity and control over what's going to happen and when, I will still take the steps because my tawakkul says Allah will provide, even if I don't know how, even if I can't guarantee it, like you know, for myself, you know, like I can guarantee it because I can guarantee Allah. I can guarantee that Allah is true to his word, right? I know Allah like that. So I don't doubt Allah. I will doubt myself. I will doubt myself to find the answers, to control outcomes. I will doubt myself to take the actions. I will doubt myself to whatever it might be, but I will not question Allah. So if I feel guided and I'm like, oh, it feels like something that I need to take a step on, that is what I'll do. That is how you live in your tawakkul, is not just to say, I trust in Allah and if He's guiding me in a direction, but now I also need to have a backup plan from Allah. Allah also needs to provide me with, I don't know, the like a brainstorm of how he's going to, you know, provide for me in that situation. I need to see the proof before I jump. Like, you know, that we would need as humans. Like, oh, you want me to take out a loan? Okay, show me how you're going to pay back the loan. Show me what the interest rates are. Show me that you're going to stay in your job for 10 years. Show me this, that, and the other. Like, we as humans need all of that sort of as a sense of security. But when we're using Allah in this way and having this tawakkul and living in that tawakkul, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, I don't need from Allah to show me proof that that is the right way for me to go. I will trust that if He has put it in front of me, that there is khair in it, one way or another. And so I know that so many of you are probably asking, at this point, well, what if it's not the right thing? What if it fails? What if whatever, you know, it goes wrong? It's not the right thing. It wasn't for you. It's you know, you know, your questions here, insert however you want to ask that question, right? You get exactly what I'm trying to say here. Alhamdulillah, still, because then I trust that if I'm taking a step in the wrong direction and I got misconstrued on what was Allah's direction and what was just like my ego trying to tell me something and trying to pretend that it was direction from Allah, then I also still have the tawakkul in Allah, knowing that Allah still wants to protect His servants and direct His servants and guide His servants. So if I take a step in the wrong direction, I still have tawakkul and living in the tawakkul of, and if I'm choosing wrong, my God, prove redirect me, guide me back to the right path. So it is my duty to live in the trust, also to the point that I will accept if it is not the right thing. Allah, guide me back so I don't get stuck, I don't get stubborn, I don't get I don't throw a tantrum if it doesn't work. So I will not go. I felt like it was like a redirection from Allah or guidance from Allah, and then when I did it, it turned into poop. And now I'm angry, so I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to say, Ya Allah, why didn't it work? I'm going to say, ah, that was a lesson. Maybe that's why Allah tried to direct me to do that or to follow through on that action. And so I will still follow through with that action. But he didn't want it to me because he didn't want me to have it at that point, or because he wanted me to learn that lesson so that he could show me the right path, or whatever else it is that Allah in his infinite wisdom has guided me towards. And sometimes it is not just the outcome of like the result of the idea itself. Sometimes it is truly that Allah guides us to something because there is growth in it, there is a lesson in it. And I have full trust in Allah, and having that tawakkul and living in that tawakkul, that even if he's guiding me to a lesson, I'm going there. I'm getting, give me the lesson. Ya Allah, give me the lesson. If the lesson means inshallah that I can move closer to you, have more tawakkul in you, be a better servant to you in this dunya, and living fully in my tawakkul, then guide me to the lesson. Have me experience the lesson. Why not? Why would I be afraid of that if it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because Allah only wants what's good for me. So that is one example of like how to very practically live in that tawakkul. It's taking taking action, right? It's taking action, but it's not just taking action, because what I'm not trying to say, like what I don't want you to hear, what I don't want you to hear is like, take stupid risks. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not trying to tell you. This is why I say it's a question of when you're feeling intuitively guided towards something. And if you're not a person who is in touch, so to speak, with their intuitive side, it'll be a little bit more difficult for you perhaps. But many of us, when push comes to shove, we kind of feel the difference between, oh, it's just, I feel this for a season, like this is just like a phase, I'm going to go through it and I'm going to cut out on the other side. And then there are other things where it's like it's kind of lining up, or it hasn't gone away, or it's kind of like it's been within me for a long time and now I feel like I can finally put words on it, right? Most of us, when we take the time to think about the things that we want and the directions that we're being pulled, can kind of sense whether or not it lines up with something else, or whether or not it's something that feels like, oh, I'm only chasing that or wanting that because of, you know, to impress other people, or because I don't know, it's I want to fit in with a crowd or something, like, you know, like something kind of banal and not really the point, you know. um so it's not a question of like, oh, I got some money and now I'm gonna, you know, I've got bills to pay, but there's also this opportunity to invest in a company, and the company can go bust. And if they go bust, then I'm going to lose all my money, and then I'm also going to become homeless. No, that's not. I mean, and then you're like, oh, maybe that's like Allah's trying to guide me towards this investment. I don't know. Maybe rethink that one, because Allah is also not going to put you in a like. It's so hard to explain sometimes, because it's really like a question of like, but also make it qualified. Like, don't if don't is it, Allah's not going to ask you to jump out of an airplane without a parachute. Do you get what I'm saying? He's not going to ask you to jump off a cliff if you're not a, what is it called, like a paraglider, bungee jumper. I don't know. I don't do extreme sports. I don't understand. I listen. I just need to look at the news, and my adrenaline is pumping anyway. So I don't need to go out there and seek that kind of adrenaline pump in the world. But if you need to do that, you know what? I'm not judging. I'm just saying my anxiety is keeping me pumped up enough, is what I'm trying to say. But Allah's not going to ask you to do something that will create misery for you, that can create the kind of misery for you that'll make you break up with him. That sounds weird. But like that, you that will make it can push you to your edge, it can push you to your limit, but not to the point like, oh, I'm going to lose my house and my children have no food, you know. There's an ayah in the Quran, and I think that maybe that reflects. Oh, of course, don't have it with me here because I'm at my friend's place, as I said earlier. So I'm going to be paraphrasing. You can look it up for yourself. And I've used this in my coaching before with a specific client that I was working on. So if she's listening, you will recognize this as well, where Allah loves that we give to charity, of course, and we are very much promoted to give to charity. But even when giving to charity, we're not supposed to give, and charity also to family, by the way, and friends, right? Not just to strangers. But he actually says in the Quran not to give so much so that it puts ourselves in a difficult situation, right? And so I know you're probably thinking, Zara, that's about charity. But again, the Quran is just is such a source of wisdom, infinite wisdom in so many ways. It's not just like the way that it is read, it is also the way that you can apply it in other things in life and in other areas. It's that we're not supposed to be putting ourselves in a position where we now become miserable. And so when we're taking these risks and chances and taking action, we're not supposed to do it to the point where we are making life unnecessarily difficult for us. There's also a different point in the Quran where Allah says, and Allah intends ease for us. Ease. Listen to that. Go Google. If you don't believe me, by the way, and you should be doing this anyway. Like you should Google when I say something. Like don't Google. Ugh, we're boycotting Google. Ocean Hero it. Okay, Ocean Hero it. That's my thing. There's other search engines you can use. I use Ocean Hero if you want to do that one. Also, I don't. There's a ton of other ones. ADHD. Get back on track, Zara. Okay. So the point is, you should either way, you should be searching up my references and looking them up for yourself. I do that all the time, and I definitely recommend that you do it, even though I know that I'm speaking about something that is, I'm not lying to you, but still, look it up for yourself. It's a good habit to get into. So if you haven't been doing that already, get started. Do it with me. I will not look at it as like an insult. I will see it as a compliment. Thank you for taking my words seriously. Look it up for yourself. Okay. So search it up online without using Google. Allah intends ease for us. Ease, not hardship. So even in lessons, there should be a sense of ease. Okay. In that it is not more than what he will not burden us with more than we can bear. Another ayah in the Quran that we know and love and quote so much. So when we are taking these risks, there has to be a level of ease with it as well. It can be difficult, it can be hard sometimes and things like that, but there's still an element of ease. I feel like I'd be good at this. Like if it's something like oh, I need to take this thing, I'm going to take this chance or this risk or whatever, but it's something that I know I'd be really good at. It's something that I know I would enjoy, even if I would be losing money initially. It's something that I know that that would bring me closer to Allah, even if it meant that for a while I'd have to work really hard. I would still be so grateful for the journey. So do you know what I mean? Like there's on the other side, there's like, even if there's like a downside to it, whatever it might be, temporarily, it's okay because there's a sense of ease with it. There's a sense of excitement around it. There's a sense of gratitude with it. That is the risks that you need to take. Okay, it's again, it is a little bit hard to explain because these are the kinds of things that it changes so much from situation to situation. And this is why I say the better you are at reading the signs and the guidance from Allah, the better you become at pivoting also for yourself, the better you become at sort of taking the risks, not putting your whole everything, your whole life into every risk, but being like, let's see if this works out. Let's see if that works. The easier it becomes to also live in that tawakkul because it becomes easier to make moves and pivot and get redirected. And you're basically allowing Allah to move you through life. And that is not on a straight line. It'll never be a straight line. It will always be with its ups and downs. And the more you expect it to be a straight line as you're trying to live in your tawakkul, the harder it'll be for you to live in tawakkul because tawakkul fully needs for you to make mistakes along the way, needs you to learn lessons along the way, needs you to learn how to pivot, needs you to learn how to accept when something is not for you and move on to the next thing. Yeah. hmm Anything else? Anything else? No, I think that's it. Living in your tawakkul, it's not a question of being necessarily a spontaneous person. Again, I'm not saying that you have to take unmitigated risks and do stupid stuff and always just take you where the wind blows you. That's not necessarily what it is. But everybody's life in Tawakkul is going to look different. Everybody's going to have a different experience with it, solely based on the fact that Allah might have different lessons and plans for us. And for some people, He might have more lessons, especially if you're stubborn. Don't ask me how I know that. Let's just say I didn't get here by chance. But you know, accepting that it's going to look different for everyone, and that Allah might have a different journey for different people. And so sometimes somebody who lives in Tawakkul will get from a from point A to point B quicker, and for other people they're going to have to take a kind of a long way around. And not to compare those two journeys, but to still live in that tawakkul and still accept what Allah is sending your way without complaint. You can be disappointed, you can have your feelings about it, you can feel some type of way, but don't live in it. Don't stay in those emotions. Keep coming back to, but I trust Allah. And so if Allah has sent this to me or me to it, then I trust that it is for a reason. Okay, that is what I have for you today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And maybe even, you know what, if you want to reach out to me over on Instagram and let me know or comment on the podcast or wherever it is you're listening, what thing you have done recently where you took your tawakkul out of being a theory and into being a lifestyle, where you actually lived in your tawakkul. I'd love to hear an example of how you've done it. Can be big, it can be small, doesn't matter. All of it counts. Okay. Um, Posted something on social media that was new for you. Is that's also sometimes living into Ecuador. Okay. So that is what I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the podcast. I will see you inshallah next week for another episode. But until then, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.